what is Juneteenth? It's a question. So when people ask me, what is Juneteenth? To me, they're really asking a deeper question. They're asking, what does freedom mean? Because in America, we celebrate Independence Day, July 4th, 1776, the day this nation declared freedom from oppression. But I stand here today to tell you, freedom didn't reach everyone on that day. Not even close. In fact, it took nearly 90 years of war and blood and sacrifice before freedom even began to touch all the people in this country. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring enslaved people in Confederate states to be free. But here's the truth that they don't always emphasize on. Freedom was declared, but it wasn't delivered. Because in places like Texas, far from the Union control, slavery continued for 2 more years. 2 years where people were still in chains, still working fields, still living a lie. While freedom had already been written for them, but they were still living a lie. Then came June 19, 1865, when Union General Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, and he announced the truth. You're free. That day, that moment, is what we now call Juneteenth. Now let me shift from this history and bring it to reality. Because Juneteenth isn't just about the past. It's about understanding something powerful. Freedom delayed is freedom denied. And yet, even in delay, even in injustice, there was still resilience, still strength, still culture, still hope. That's why Juneteenth isn't just a history lesson. It's a celebration of endurance. It's a celebration of people who refuse to let hardship define them. It's a celebration of people who found reasons to sing, laugh, worship, love, and dream, even when circumstances told them they shouldn't. That's why I often say it's in our culture and tradition to celebrate, even though the moral fiber of this country has remained unchanged for over 400 years. Think about it. Generation after generation faced obstacles. Generation after generation faced discrimination. Generation after generation faced systems that weren't built with them in mind. Yet somehow we still celebrate life. We still believed in tomorrow. We still push forward. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's resilience. That's who we are. But don't mistake our celebration for forgetting. Because while we celebrate, we also remember. So when America celebrates July 4th, I understand it. I respect it. But as a black man, I also recognize something deeper. My Independence Day didn't start in 1776. Because my ancestors weren't free then. My independence didn't even fully start in 1863. Because many didn't know they were free. My independence began when freedom reached us. When truth finally showed up. When chains were not just broken on paper, but broken in reality. And that's why the shirt I made today means so much to me, because Juneteenth, more than a holiday, it's our history. 1865. Not somebody else's history. Not just black history. Our history. Because history isn't just something you read in the textbook. History lives in sacrifice. History lives in perseverance. History lives in the courage of people who kept moving forward when every reason existed to quit. History lives in us. That's why Juneteenth deserves more than a cookout, more than a social media post, more than a day off. It deserves understanding. It deserves remembrance. It deserves respect. And that's why Juneteenth matters, because it reminds us that progress isn't always immediate, that justice isn't always timely, that freedom is never something we should take for granted. But when freedom finally arrives, it is powerful. It is also challenges America to, it also challenges America to ask itself, are we truly living up to the freedom we celebrate? Mm-hmm. Juneteenth should not just be a Black holiday. It should be an American awakening, because a country is only as free as its last free citizen. And Juneteenth represents the moment America got closer to becoming what it said it already was. So when I celebrate Juneteenth, I'm not just celebrating the past. I'm honoring the fight, respecting the struggle, remembering the sacrifice, and recognizing their responsibility that comes with what we call as freedom. Because freedom didn't just arrive. It was fought for. It was prayed for. It was waited on. And it finally was claimed. And that's the message I leave. Don't just celebrate Juneteenth. Understand it. Protect it. Teach it. And make sure it reaches everybody. Because Juneteenth is more than a holiday. It's our history. And when you know your history, nobody can rewrite your future.